Now, speaking of things that are set up nicely, so first of all, Shujaa is not a core team in the IRB. Sawa. We made peace with that. And then now they were supposed to go to Dubai. And then yesterday I saw a press release that said, we apologize, we cannot go to Dubai. Ndugu Kwalimwa.
Yeah.
Sasa hii mambo tulimekuwa tukisema positivity, things are doing well.
Why are you surprised?
Things are great. Kumbe tunarudi tu hapa.
I was not entirely surprised. Somebody has to take the blame. I'll go with the federation. Even if the government was supposed to ensure the team goes to Dubai, at the very least, I think the federation is supposed to have a plan B and C and D. The fact that they didn't probably just shows us that that's why we are relegated anyway, because there was not much planning into how this team performs. Remember, the men's team, for example, is supposed to be competing in the Olympics next year. They need these kind of games to up the ante, to keep going, to keep them much fit. I know they just from the Safari Sevens. I'm just trying to imagine if the government didn't provide the tickets, why they didn't provide the tickets. There was some memo flying around on social media the other day about what the government can fund and what it cannot fund. You saying this is an invitational tournament, maybe that is what influenced the government, because it was probably in the government's scheme of things, it was not that of a priority. But again, I'll bring up a controversial way of thinking and say, is the government putting so much in football and athletics as compared to rugby? Because football, there's under 18 here, the starlets are here, the minister is always in camp, the CS is always in camp, watching training. He's in Kakamega cheering the team. He's back here watching starlets, but he's participating in a cross country in the Rift Valley. But when it comes to rugby, probably not so much. So kuna watoto wanapendelewa na serikali na wengine hawapendelewi na serikali.
I think it's a case of and this is purely speculation. I think this is a case of, you see, there's cause and effect. There's cost benefit analysis, and I think that's part of it. I mean, what's the biggest sport in the world? Football. What's the most followed sport in the world? Football. This country is famous for what? Athletics.
Yeah,
so
but when you give back
naturally we will go to those ones, as opposed to, with all due respect, kabaddi, my good friends, rollball, like it's only natural, like golf, like you.
Rugby pia wanalipa ushuru. They pay tax, they pay VAT on fuel pia.
Anyway, let's stay on the cost. Let's stay on
kulipa VAT is your on cost.
No, acha tuache hiyo maneno ya speculation. Let's talk with what we know, which is sport. Hii ingine unajua tunabambanya tu hapa, tuna guesswork. Bernard, what happened? How come the sevens team couldn't travel to Dubai, the invitational sevens? Before I read for you the latest statement from Mr. Sasha Mutai.
Before you read the statement, obviously, this is a second statement, I think, in 48 hours, because he released one, and then I think there's a lot of pressure and backlash because of what has transpired. But Kwalimwa blames the federation. I'll absolve the federation. I think the handball came from the government, because they were the ones who were supposed to be supporting the team to travel. Because obviously, when the thing is, people don't understand is the fact that when Kenya goes and competes in the World 7 Series, when they used to compete previous season, is that their flights and food was catered for by the organizers. So all the teams that are traveling for the World 7 Series, their flights are catered for and accommodation are catered for by the World 7 Series. So it's the allowances that they are paid by now, of course, your member federation, government, depending on how your situation is financially. But in this particular case, I think it was the government. I think somewhere in the communication, somebody led somebody on where they felt like, look, the team is going where? Dubai. How many teams? 2 teams. Fantastic. We will see what we can do. So you see that goodwill, and based on the fact that if you look at 2023, and I disagree with you briefly saying that you feel like rugby has been ignored. No, not necessarily. We hosted Africa Under 20, supported by the government. We hosted the World Rugby Junior Trophy, largely supported by the government, and World Rugby, obviously. So there's some goodwill for rugby, but I feel for this one, maybe perhaps the government just mark-timed, because look at it this way. Them going for the Dubai Invitational Tournament is another important step for Kenya to prepare for the Challenger Series, to qualify for the World 7 Series, because it's happening next year. And you know, the thing is about the World 7 Series, the moment you have been dropped, when you come back, there's an assumption that you will stay for a whole for ad infinitum. You understand? Not necessarily, because today's game, Canada versus New Zealand, 26-21 was the result to the New Zealanders. More often than not, it will have been 30-something 6. What does that tell you?
The gap
Teams-
is narrowing.
teams are
Canada
getting-
is getting closer to the All Blacks.
They're getting better and better, and it's the same scenario for us because it took us a long time before we were able to secure our first win against a team like New Zealand. It took us a long time by the time we were able to beat a team like South Africa, because now we have beaten all those teams. There's a time I used to watch it when the former coach of England was playing, not even Mike Friday. He was being coached by when Mike Friday was coaching him, the former coach for England, when he was playing. I remember there's a game we watched, Dennis Mwanja was playing. Tulima was 45 string happy.
So the so-called lesser teams in the IRB
Yes.
have closed the gap. So
Properly.
you're Canada, you're Spain, you're Uruguay.
Yes.
Which means we are even further away because we
Yes.
are in the Challenger Series.
Yes.
These ones are going towards Canada,
Yes.
towards the All Blacks
Yes.
and France
Yes.
and whoever.
Because
And then us sisi tuko huku nyuma.
remember, it's 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yes.
They're the ones who will compete in the Challenger Series against now the 4 teams who will have performed better in the Challenger Series, so that you can determine which team now is being promoted.
Well,
So
it's rough, man.
So I think they needed to go for this tournament because even as much as you're not playing the top teams per se, but you're still getting competitive, because if you're playing just in the continent, that's your opponent in Asia, unless you're going to participate in South Africa. But then again, even if you're going to compete in South Africa, you are better off playing against the Blitzbock or being based, or you decide, you know what, we're taking a gamble. We're going to put the team in a 1-month high performance training at the Stellenbosch Training Center in South Africa as we prepare for the Challenger, because Uganda is also performing. They're also coming up slowly. They blow hot and cold, but there's something Uganda rugby is doing that people are not